Welcome back to American Whiskey. As always, I am your favorite host in the whole entire world, Big Sturge. Now, over on the other side of the studio, unfortunately, or fortunately for some, Dylan's not here.
There ain't not even a chair in his spot, man. What do we sell his chair, man? What's they come and repo his chair?
He didn't pay the rent center, you know what I mean? So
what that van was?
Yeah, the American Whiskey needs some money here, folks. So, but as always, and unfortunately for some, but fortunately for others, Uncle Joey is here.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? How you doing?
So today it's just there is a special guest here. You know what? I don't even feel like I should be the one to do this because you've actually been to his shop.
Go ahead, Anthony. Chris, go ahead with this. All right, go ahead.
That makes me feel good. So we've got Chris from Hilltop Distillery with us this evening. We're happy to have you.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Now, before we move on here, Uncle Joey.
Yes.
What do we always do before we get really started?
What are we sipping on
this evening? What are we sipping on tonight? What'd you pour us?
Well, I have a couple bottles that are getting kind of lonely and look like they need a drink this evening. And they are from the Wild Turkey variety. They are the rare breed rye and the regular rare breed. So we're going to finish these two little bottles. There's not a lot left, but there's definitely enough to enjoy. Rare breed's up first.
So the smell on
rye,
the rye, fantastic, by the way. I thought you did because you didn't like it. And I was like,
no.
Over, I'll drink it.
I don't think I've ever brought my bottle of rye over, and you guys need to try this. It's really good.
Delicious.
Are you a Wild Turkey fan, Chris? Do you?
Oh yeah, definitely.
That rare breed rye, man. I just happened to stumble upon it one time. I was actually looking for the regular rare breed and drove all the way down to Dayton. I forget where I was in Dayton, man. I was OHLQ mapping it and stopped at some shop, and the guy looked at me like I was crazy about asking him the regular rare breed, but he pointed me to the rye, and there was like 4 bottles of the rye on the shelf. And I grabbed one, not knowing anything about it. Man, I got it home and cracked it. And I was like, why didn't I grab 2 of those? And the only reason why this bottle was as low as it was is I haven't wanted to drink the rest of it.
Yeah.
But Anthony's my brother, man. And we share things as much as we can when it comes to bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured if nobody else to share
things, we insult each other.
We fight. Yeah, it's all good.
Like
but
brothers.
I love this dude.
I love it too,
I figured I'd share this with him tonight.
So Chris, let me ask you something real fast.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave you out here. Are you sipping on anything this evening?
What's that?
Are you sipping on anything this evening?
No, I'm actually still at the office, but
so there's plenty of moonshine around then.
I do have a little bottle of Woodford Reserve Double Oak here in the office. So
man, that's good. That's good.
Like
that kind of my sip and go to right now. So
yeah, that's a good bottle, man.
Solid bottle right there. You know, that whole Woodford lineup, I don't know how you feel about it, but start to finish, again, their rye is a great bottle.
You can't go wrong with Woodford. I've never had a bad sip of Woodford before.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
There's a couple distilleries that I feel like start to finish. There's only a couple of them that I like every one of their bottles. And I would say Woodford, 4 Roses. And man, I've not met a Wild Turkey bottle that I haven't.
And Artisan.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Jefferson's.
Yep.
Start to finish, man. Every one of their bottles is, I would like to own several of each one of them, so, and it's hard for a distillery, I think, to become that strong.
Yeah.
And to have that, to be able to put that much product out. And I know in your line as well, Chris, you've got to kind of limit what you put out. You don't want to do overkill, but at the same time, you make a mean flavored product down there. So,
well, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So just kind of off the beat real quick. How many flavors do you have right now?
We have 6 right now, including our Knock 'em Stiff. We've just been approved by the feds for 8 more flavors. So we're going to be rolling those out here for the next few months. So
we're talking 16 different flavors soon.
Yeah. And then on top of that, we're working on a bourbon.
Yes.
Working on a honey apple brandy. And working on a rye whiskey. So our problem now is lack of
talking dirty on here. We're going to have to mute you.
Come on down, man.
What's that?
You say, come on down.
Yeah, come on down.
Well, we're professional, drinkers. So anytime you need somebody to.
So what were you saying? What were you saying, Chris? You're having trouble what?
Oh, having trouble with production more. We got the one still going full time right now, and I know we've got several bars and restaurants wanting to carry it, but it's everything we can do to keep our own shelves stocked
Mhm.
right now. So
Do you need someone
we
to come
are.
down and do you need someone to come down and babysit said stills? Why?
Yeah,
Yeah,
may
we
have
can
to,
do it.
man. I mean, I spent July 4th cooking up a batch just because we were so far behind. So
I'll have to tell Uncle Joey to put a straw away. He'll try and taste it while it's in there.
Man, I'll be honest. I'm kind of upset with myself that we didn't make it down to that other moonshine class. I think it would
know.
be absolutely so cool to get up early, have early. Chris gets up and starts his day because I'm up that early, and just shadow him for the day,
Yeah,
man. Help
would
him
be
out
neat.
if he needs some help. I just think it'd be so cool just to walk in his steps for the day and just see what
for
a
sure.
day's worth of Pabst Distillery would be. Because
Mhm.
man, you make a
Hey.
good product down there, and to
we'll,
see what kind of
we'll make
effort
it
goes in.
happen, man.
I would love to. I'm not kidding,
You're
man.
speaking our language.
I think it'd be really cool because everything I tried there, it had quality to it. It just wasn't some
Yes.
off-brand flavor. I could tell you put a lot into that, man. And
I
I
appreciate
know
that.
I liked it, and I think you should. And I can tell you are, but you'd be very proud of what you got going on down there.
And I think it's interesting, Uncle Joey, because I've always been a corn liquor guy. So I've always enjoyed moonshine. All the way from 11 years ago when I first tried it. It was from Moorhead, Kentucky, from my father-in-law's distant family. And
shout out to the Black family.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it then. So when I say that how much I enjoyed this, it's a
Well, I'll tell you a funny story.
I love it.
I came down and I bought that jar, Chris, and I actually made a mistake. I should have bought one more jar. I forgot to buy. Well, he said he was going to give one to his dad.
Mhm.
Oh,
And so I ended up giving him the bottle that I had. I kept the couple of the flavored ones that I bought and gave this one to Anthony because he said he was going to give it to his dad.
I won't.
And it's never left the shelf of the studio.
I have to have an extra bottle.
So
to give to
Anthony
him.
really liked it. So I know whenever I come in, me and him usually share a drink of it.
Oh yeah, every time.
Usually start our podcast with a little sip and knock 'em stiff. So
Mhm.
well, I want one of our new flavors coming out. That knock 'em stiff has a combination of corn, barley, and rye. And one of our new flavors coming out is a combination of red bloody butcher corn, Silver King corn, and then Ohio Blue Claret, just our red, white, and blue release. And so if you like a corn liquor, I think you're really going to like this new Copper's Mountain Corn that we're getting ready to release.
well, Anthony, I got some free time next weekend.
Yeah, we can absolutely make something like this
Not
happen.
this one, but the one after. We can roll.
So let me
Yeah.
ask you this, Chris. Do you have time to kind of walk us through from almost what interests you to what started this to where you're
Yeah.
at now? I mean, is that something you'd like to?
Definitely.
Okay.
Always glad to kind of share our story. I always tell people that my family comes from southeast Kentucky near Harlan. So my great granddaddy, my granddad, my uncles and cousins, they were all into making moonshine back in the 40s and 50s. Matter of fact, we had a few of them get busted and ended up in prison over moonshine and back in the day.
Okay.
And then from there, it's something my brother and I always dabbled in. And we actually have a honey farm, which, we started a honey farm in 2007, and we got tied in with Sugarland Distillery down in Gatlinburg to do a joint venture with honey and their rye whiskey. And so we would go down there and kind of hang out, and we were basically free labor, so we got to go down there and hang out and run. So I kind of got the fever at that point to look into maybe doing it legally. And it took us a couple of years to get the permits and everything lined up, but our first day of selling liquor was last September 1st. So we're coming up on our 1-year anniversary here pretty soon.
And Uncle Joe, you were there.
His place is awesome, man. Bainbridge, you got a cool little town there. They treated me and my wife to a nice afternoon for lunch at your little restaurant diner there. That was fabulous. Stopped and hung out with Chris and his family for a little bit, and then we went and got some ice cream down at the Dairy Queen. It was a nice afternoon, man. And for my wife to tag along, and she enjoyed herself, and I didn't hear no complaints on my whiskey trip, so it was good for both of us. You know what I mean? So, and I got to have some good moonshine, and we got to sample some something that I guess that guy's going to come to the farm to bottle. That he brought the bottle for you to try. He's going to be there.
Good deal.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a real good festival coming up.
Yeah, I do too.
It's building steam. It really is. It's
Yeah.
rolling.
Dan's actually watching right now, so shout out to
Hey,
Dan.
How you doing, Dan?
Yeah, this festival, we're definitely looking forward to it.
Good deal.
You know, just it's the one thing that's, you know, drawn me to whiskey and to moonshine over the years is the fact that it brings so much you know, like artists, like it's an art. It's
a craft.
It's not just a liver killer, you know. It's a craft. It really is.
There's definitely an art, man. It's an art form.
And it's funny, if you listen to our last episode, I had a good friend of mine, Justin, here. Justin doesn't drink whiskey whatsoever.
He thinks it's gross.
He said it's terrible. I don't like it. But we were able to get him to close his eyes for a minute, get all those nasty thoughts out of his mind, and really sit there. And when he did, and he used his imagination, and he used, you know, that, you know, the artist side of him, he was able to bring forth of the smell and the flavor and how it goes down, how it feels in your mouth, you know.
Yeah, he definitely had a nose. His palate just said, eh.
And I will always say, you're not going to give a 10-year-old a sip of moonshine. They're going to love it. It's something that you acquire. It's something that you learn. You can't give a kid a pen and expect him to draw a portrait. You have to learn, but you know, it's something that you can acquire. It's something, especially, you know, Uncle Joey, you know, you've been drinking whiskey for a long time. Chris, I don't know how long you've drank whiskey or moonshine.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm a bourbon guy. I love bourbon.
Yeah. So that there, it just, Uncle Joey's palates, you've changed my palate over the last 2 years.
Yeah. And
tremendously.
Well, I drank some things as well. Maybe I wouldn't have drank now because of you. Yeah. You drink, you know, you share different things that you like. And there's bottles I may have never tried because I just didn't think anything good about it. And then Anthony would be like, hey, try this. And I'll be like, damn, that's good. I would have never thought that. And I know I brought stuff over. You've been like, man, I've never had that. And you're like, all right. Or most of my stuff. Yeah. See, I like it kind of hot. So
which
unfortunately, Anthony don't do much of mine.
If it's going to be hot, I want it to be straight up moonshine.
But smooth.
Smooth.
Like the Knock'em Stiff. The Knock'em Stiff has heat, but it's not overbearing. The flavor, I guess the very first sip I had a Knock'em Stiff down in his place, I was just amazed by the flavors that you get in your mouth. You can really taste. You say, is that a 4-grain?
3-grain, corn, barley, and rye.
Corn, barley, and rye. And I get a good rye in that, man. I really do, but it's smooth. And it follows through.
I mean, it's bad smooth.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. And that I was.
You could get in so much trouble with it. And I literally, we just take one sip out of it because we could
take a nice,
because him and I could kill this whole entire thing. But the thing about moonshine is, you know, all the different moonshine that I've had over 10 years, I've never had one that was similar, if that makes sense. You know, I've had
different characteristics. Yes.
And it's even more so than bourbon for me. And I don't, maybe that's because I have that 10 years of drinking it, but it is unbelievable. The different, you know, people that distill this moonshine, you know, I'm sure even going, and Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, you know, from your water quality, I mean, to your, you know, so what is it
to the kind of still you run? Right.
Of corn.
Right. Oh,
yeah.
It's definitely corn.
I mean, your grain definitely have a big part of it. I mean, I'm glad that we were able to find all of our grains here in Ohio. So I kind of think that's something special for us.
Go ahead and give him a shout out, Chris. Go ahead.
Yeah.
We do a lot with Schoolhouse Farms and up in, I believe it above Troy, Ohio. Vaughn Davis, he does a tremendous job. We get our malted barley there outside of Marysville. I can't remember the name of the place right now. Rustic Brew Farms. That's, outside of Marysville. So it took us a while, but we finally found. When we started out, we tried corn from the local fields and different places, and really feel blessed to be able to hook up with Vaughn. Vaughn's got 18 different varieties of corn.
Dude, this guy's a master. No, he's like
we're gonna do a lot of experiments
grower, man.
Really?
He's got it going on. Yeah,
we're going to do a lot of experimentation with different types of corn, and Vaughn's got it going on up there. So
Chris, let me ask you this: when you talk about this corn and the different types of corn, I'm sure a lot of our listeners don't know a lot about corn. I don't know a lot about corn. I know there's sweet corn and I know there's feed corn. One I feed to my cows. one that I put on the
Table.
water for and to boil and to serve, the family for dinner. What is
Yeah.
different about this kind of corn?
Well, the corn that we use, especially the Ohio Blue Claridge and the Bloody Butcher, it's really like a type of Indian corn. I mean, you're working with, it's a much higher sugar content, which comes through in the flavor of the liquor. And there's a lot of other different varieties. I picked up a truckload of a green corn from Vaughn. I'm going to use it for some different whiskeys, and then I know some other local distillers have used different strands of corn. But like the Bloody Butcher, it kind of has a earthy note to it, where the Ohio Blue Claret has a real high sugar content. So you combine that with the Silver King, and that's why I'm really getting excited about the Copper's Mountain corn coming out here in a few months, because it's a really unique combination of the red, white, and blue corn, and I think it's a flavor that you're gonna like it real well.
So
I've got a little sample jar at the distillery down there. If you guys come down, we'll let you take a snort.
Yeah, when we come down. So
Okay.
I got a quick question. So does different corns produce more or less, or a higher batch? You know what I mean? Do you
have to use like
Yeah.
quantity of corn, like for certain, Yeah, that's a good question.
Depending on what your recipe is, I mean, you got to do some experimentation and get, see what kind of yield you're going to get. A lot of it, along with the corn, the different types of yeast. There are so many different strands of yeast out there that you can use for moonshine, and we're doing that now. We work with Firm Solutions out of Louisville, and all they do is provide different strands of yeast. I think they've got like 300 or 400 different strands. So we're playing around with that, and every strand, one strain might be great for corn whiskey, another strain might be good for bourbon. So, trying to play around and mix different,
find your right mess
to come up with that good combination. And that's kind of how we did the Knock'em Stiff. I mean, there was a lot of experimentation going into the Knock'em Stiff. And as a matter of fact, today, back in the winter, we entered 4 of our moonshine. We sent them out to the East Coast and entered into a competition with distilleries from 17 different states. And we didn't win any gold, but we did get 2 silver medals, 2 bronze medals, and 2 People's Choice Awards. And the Knock'em Stiff did very well out there, I think, especially for our first contest. So
nice.
There's absolutely nothing to be ashamed of there. That's awesome, man.
So we're going back next year for the gold, but we were happy for our first contest.
I like the way you think, man. I like that.
I like that. Go getter. Yeah.
So sorry, Uncle Joe.
No. I just was.
Go ahead, buddy.
I'm going back to your line. So when do you think you're going to shoot this line out? When are these new products going to be available? Because I'm really curious about that bourbon and that whiskey.
Ohio, we're doing the label design. The feds have signed off on all the recipes. Now we send it to Ohio. It takes them about 6 weeks to do their approval process. So probably 6 to 8 weeks before we have it on the shelf.
Right on.
That's coming up quick. I mean,
You gotta get them out there
farm to bottle, or right around farm to bottle. That'd be cool.
Oh yeah. That's our goal.
So
we're gonna start putting stuff in barrels here. We got some barrels ready for the bourbon. We're coming up with a Bainbridge bourbon, which is essentially it's gonna be Knock'em Stiff put into bourbon barrels. So
yeah.
So one question that I have for you, I've been to a lot of different distilleries, whiskey distilleries, bourbon distilleries, and I've got to interview the master distillers to the owners. And one of the coolest parts of it for me is to hear their story of their kettle or what they use to, make their product. Is there anything, I know when I went to, is it New Carlisle Distillery, Uncle Joey?
I'm not sure. I didn't make it to that one.
So we went to one, and it was from the late 1800s. It was a copper pot distill. It was very unique, and they pride themselves for using the original one, which, hey, I would too. That's awesome. So I just didn't know with this, the production of your product, is there the stuff that you've made it, or it's from your family history of moonshine, or what?
Actually, our copper pot was made outside of Knoxville, Tennessee, by a fellow by the name of Kevin Gordon. He has Thunder Road Copper. Kevin actually makes if you ever watch the show Moonshiners, Kevin makes all of the stills for the Moonshiners show. And actually, Mark and Digger turned me on to Kevin to have him build so he did a custom build on our still. It's all electric heat, 110 gallons. And we're going to actually do an expansion probably next summer. And we're going to add 3 more copper pot made by Kevin.
So not only do these copper pots produce some fantastic juice, Anthony, they are so sexy looking, man.
Oh, for sure.
Dude,
They're absolutely
I'm gonna
gorgeous.
tell you what, I got pictures on my phone. I
Yeah.
almost, dude, they were so smooth and sleek and well designed. I mean,
It's so unique. That's the
his
best
room-
word to use. Man.
his money making room, I'm gonna call it, is a cool little spot, man.
Yeah.
You could tell the magic happens in there. That's for sure.
So
It's
what is
cool.
your ultimate goal, Chris?
Oh, keep going.
My ultimate goal, I definitely want to expand. I mean, our biggest problem right now is not being able to produce as much. So we are looking at doing an expansion. We'll either build on the back of our existing distillery, or we'll buy another building we're looking at a couple other buildings for production and warehousing. I'm almost 60 years old. I want to do another 10 or 15 years run with it. And I've got 2 boys. I'm hoping maybe they pick up and run with it after I'm gone.
I've met his one boy, fine
yeah.
young man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Start your own lineage, laying
it down. Hell yeah, Chris.
Yeah. And I mean, we got, like I said, we're going to shoot for about 15 flavors before it's said and done. We want to do a lot of different, small batches. We did a joint venture with Sugarland where they took our honey and aged their rye whiskey in that for about 5 years. And man, it really came out great. And it was just a one-time release. And I want to do different things like that, just do some stuff that the bigger guys can't do. I mean, the good thing about us being a micro distillery, we can, really the sky's the limit for. Now, we're going to do a honey apple brandy. And I want to take the honey apple brandy and put it in barrels for a couple of years and maybe finish it off in like maybe a cognac barrel. Just little things like that.
Uncle Joe? He's just a dirty talker.
He knows
man.
how to hit you, man. All that.
I mean, I've got like 5 years worth of ideas in my head already. And so
Have you ever done anything with agave, Chris?
No, I haven't. A friend of mine up north has, and that's something that's on my list. So
agave seems to be very popular right now. I see a lot.
Yeah, it's a very high sugar content, very sweet.
Might be something to kick in and catch on the craze like everybody else is doing, man.
Oh yeah.
So we have somebody named Miranda that's listening. She said, Chris, now you need to do a orange creamsicle. That would be amazing. I had to just point that comment out because I would try that one.
Actually, orange was one of our flavors that just got approved by the Fed. So we will be playing around with that.
So Miranda, check that one out.
Nice.
Yeah. And then 2 of our flavors are going to be sipping cream, which, it has this kind of like a Bailey's.
Right.
So we're doing a butter pecan, not a butter pecan, a pecan praline, and then a mocha mint. And then the orange dreamsicle definitely is on our list too. So
I wasn't hungry. Now I'm just, I am.
Man.
I got a question for you, Uncle Joey.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to harass you now.
Yes, sir.
Uh-oh.
So not only did you go to Pabst Distillery
Mhm.
and have a fantastic freaking time.
Oh, it was awesome.
And love the people, love the moonshine.
Everything.
But you picked up some barbecue sauce while you were there, correct?
Oh, yeah.
And you
yes.
made some ribs where
Yes,
you were coming back here after the ribs
I knew this was
to
coming.
have a podcast, but you got inside of a food coma. And once
Yeah.
I saw the picture, I understood it.
Ooh.
But I just want people to realize, we're not just talking moonshine.
Oh,
We're
man.
talking all
yeah.
kinds of product. And I want you to talk about you haven't even talked to me about how good this was. Was it good? Barbecue sauce?
Listen, I
was
made
it-
pork chops tonight. That barbecue sauce was also in my pork chops tonight.
Okay.
So it's
Was that the
solid
honey
barbecue.
habanero barbecue
Yes.
sauce?
Yes, sir.
So,
Oh, yeah,
Chris,
that's
do
good
you
stuff.
make that in-house?
No, we actually have somebody make that for us. So
Okay.
Yep.
So listen,
With the product, like, is that knock 'em stiff in there, or what is what
Just
is
honey.
that?
It's just honey.
We can add a little bit of everything in there. So
I'm
So-
trying to push for some moonshine.
So before Chris
Yeah.
tells you about his store, let me tell you my version of his store. If it's made from honey, it has honey in it. You can put it on your face, your skin. You can drink it. You can rub in it.
yeah,
You can bathe in it.
Yes,
you
I
can,
can.
make dessert with it. Chris has it. His store has it. And
that's awesome.
his
Hey.
store is cool.
one thing I want to run by you guys.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about cigars where the leaves have been soaked in knock 'em still for whiskey? We've been approached by a company out of New York that makes cigars from the Dominican Republic,
Oh,
and they want to take our moonshine, soak the leaves in our moonshine, and then make a cigar out of it.
I'm a
So-
massive cigar smoker.
Oh yeah, no way.
Chris, Anthony, I think
massive.
Anthony is about to stroke out over here. Hold on. Between
Don't give me a
between
second.
everything you've been talking, yeah, and Anthony is a nice cigar. He's got a I myself do not. I have I think my son Jacob will smoke a cigar. So, but yeah, Chris, I think that'd be a great idea.
Well, we're trying to work it out with Ohio because I'm not sure how they feel about the tobacco. Oh man, nice humidor though. Yeah,
Little
there
thing
you go.
going on. He's got a little thing.
Very nice. Very nice.
If yes, I vote yes, Chris.
Okay,
Yes, yes.
good deal.
And
Good
I'll
deal.
say this for Dylan because I believe Dylan is also a cigar
Yeah.
smoker.
Dylan loves
Dylan
cigars.
saying yes, also,
Okay.
Chris. So
Yeah.
that'd be a
Yes.
I
great.
thought it was
idea.
pretty cool that they would actually soak the cigars in our different types of liquor, and then we can roll it out. They'll even do like a band, a little label band on it and everything. And so
Absolutely.
look for that to be coming down the pike. So
The rye and the bourbon would also be a good one to throw
Yeah.
in there too.
Yes.
yeah, that's what
Yes.
I'm thinking.
Well, hell yeah, Chris. Hey, that is awesome. Now you've got people reaching out to you wanting to use your product and make something bigger with it.
I hope more
Yeah.
people come towards you because this moonshine, brother, I don't need anything more than this knock 'em stiff. I'm not gonna lie to you
Right.
because I love it, man.
All right, so I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take a hot second to reach out to everybody watching and listening. Take a Saturday afternoon, a Friday afternoon, take your little drive and go check out Mr. Chris Lewis's establishment, Pabst Hilltop Honey. It's a great day. It's a nice trip. You can get some knock 'em stiff. You can get some honey, and maybe you can meet Chris
Cigars
and
soon.
some of his family, and maybe some cigars. But
There you go.
I give it a 5 out of 5 stars on a just an afternoon adventure, man. For me and my wife, it was a good day.
we just had somebody comment, would we meet you guys there? Absolutely.
So, Chris,
Absolutely.
anytime we can give you a shout out, brother, we're right there for you.
Appreciate
I
you
can
guys,
tell
man.
anybody about your place. I told so many people
You
at
have,
work,
man.
some friends of mine.
I would say almost every episode we're mentioning it. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
yeah.
I appreciate that, man. I
Yeah,
really do. We get a lot of people from the Dayton and Dayton area, Columbus, Cincinnati. We're right on US 50, so we're easy to find. Nice drive out in the country. We got a little Amish community near us, so if you're into the
Awesome.
good baked good stuff and all that, you go right down the road from us. So
When I pulled into town, there's a sign. Is there a country musician born there or raised there or something?
not in Bainbridge. We do have a real old music theater that were a lot of the big country music people from the 50s and 60s used to come and sing at Bainbridge.
Maybe that's what it was. And I knew
yeah,
there was
Pink
some kind
Valley
of ties with
Jamboree
the
is what it
country
was.
music scene. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, Bainbridge is a great little village. I mean, when we started looking into doing this venture a couple of years ago, I mean, they could have easily shot us down, and it was actually a dry village when we started talking to them.
oh
And they've
wow.
been dry for 40 years. And, we got to know the people and they got to know us. And we did have to put it on a ballot. And the folks in Bainbridge came out 85% in our favor at the ballot.
Wow.
So they
Community
welcomed
showed
us
up.
with open arms, and they've been great to work with. And we want to do anything we can to help the village out.
And that's
It's
the
a
other
great little
thing.
village, man. It really is. Shout out Bainbridge.
We're not just talking about moonshine here, folks. We're talking about community.
Talking about
Yeah.
America. We're
this
talking about
is
life. Yes.
American
Yeah.
whiskey. We love all things whiskey and all things America.
But
And
it was
this
nice
is-
that Chris rolled into a town
Yeah.
and they welcomed him, and then
Yeah.
he's now giving back to that town.
a dry
and,
town.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure eventually when he gets bigger, some of those people from that town will be employed as his business. So
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, we
Yeah.
actually have 5 employees now. So, I mean, it's
look
working
at
out
that.
great.
Yeah,
that's awesome, Chris.
So-
That is awesome, Chris.
So, Chris, I don't want to keep you all night, but there is a special question that I always ask the first time guests, and hopefully we get you back on here, Chris. To
Oh,
talk
hey,
about your
anytime, man.
product.
I enjoy your podcast and watch it every chance I get. So,
Awesome. I appreciate that
Chris.
very
Yeah.
much. And anybody that follows Chris, just shoot us a follow, and we'll always be supportive of our brothers and sisters out there just trying to do the same thing we're doing. And it's incredible to watch, just listen to Uncle Joey and the true how much you loved it. when you
Yeah,
went
it's
there,
a cool
man.
place.
It was really
man.
neat.
It's a
So
really cool place.
now
hey, I did want to tell you,
Yeah, go ahead.
Uncle Joey, the girls are working on a Uncle Joey's lemon drop shine, or lemon drop cocktail. So I saw your last podcast when you were mixing the lemonade and the knocking
Oh,
stuff.
shoot.
There we
Yeah,
go.
we hopefully
So-
here before too long. We all getting into the cocktail side of it, and one of our cocktails is going to be Uncle Joey's lemon drop.
So
Man,
before now,
thank you,
when
Chris.
you drop that on menu, can we come for the?
Oh, shoot.
We got to do something
When
fun
it
about with
drops,
this.
we will
Oh heck
be there.
yeah, we'll do a grand. We'll roll it out and have Uncle Joey there.
Uncle Joey lemon drop.
Oh,
I
I'm
love
smiling
it,
from ear to
man.
ear, Chris. Thank you.
All right,
That's awesome.
son of a gun. How about a big sturge? I'm just kidding.
Nah.
Uncle Joey lemon drop. I love that. Let us know. We'll be there for that.
Yeah, we'll come down. Listen,
Oh,
we're coming down
oh.
soon, Chris. Like I
Yeah.
said, me and Anthony need to come down. He needs knock 'em stiff. I
Yeah.
surrendered my jar to him, which I thought was going to his dad.
Can I get a gallon of that?
Listen, what's your pop's name again?
Mark Sturgeon.
Yeah, shout out Mark. I apologize. That jar was yours.
Yeah, my bad. My bad. My bad. But
Well, Chris, we appreciate you tonight, man. We really do.
Hey, anytime, man. Always glad to talk to you guys. And
now, Chris,
if I don't
is
see you
it-
before, we'll see you at the festival. So
yeah, for sure. So I got one question for you before you hop off here.
Yeah.
I created this podcast. You know, the thought of this came 5 years ago, and it just came into works a lot over the last year. We're over just a year now, by the way, Uncle Joey.
Yeah,
So we're having
I
fun
love
doing
this.
this.
I have so much fun.
We do. And even though they give me a hard time about production and stuff, it's at the end of the day, I still love these boys. But the one thing that means the most to us is America. And we believe that, you know, whiskey played a big part in the history of America, and just
I agree.
alcohol in general did. But I just want to know, it can be political. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, whatever your view is. We support it. We love you guys. We love everyone that has a different view. Uncle Joey and I do not have the same views, but
Still love him.
I'd love for you just to make a comment. It can be political. It can be, you know, just but something about America before we hop off.
Cool. Well, the great thing about America is anybody, you know, can dream up or come. If you set a dream or a goal in mind, there's nothing that can prevent you from doing that. If you're willing to work hard and put in what it takes, I mean, you can accomplish anything in America. I mean, I know people like to kick around and, you know, say how bad we are and how bad we were in the past, but America is still the land of opportunity. And I believe with all my heart that, you know, anybody can come here and do anything they want if they're willing to put the work into it. And, you know, this is the greatest country on earth, and there's nobody's ever going to convince me otherwise. So
Amen, brother.
I love it, man. I'm actually not going to say anything else past that, because that's well said, Chris. We appreciate you coming on tonight.
anytime, man.
Again, we'll have you on again, but this Uncle Joey lemon drop,
Oh yeah.
we will be there, Chris. So, but as always, I'm Big Sturge,
I'm Uncle Joey.
and this is Chris, and we are American Whiskey, and we appreciate you guys for joining.
Thank you guys very much.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Good night, Chris.
Good night. Have a good one.
Appreciate you,
brother.
Chris.